Hi, everyone. How are you? I hope you can hear me, even though it looks like many of you are on mute. Oh, good. Thanks, Adonis. I'm glad you all received the messages. The weather actually is quite nice at this point, but when I sent when I made the decision to meet via Zoom, it was still not very nice. And also our building, there was power lost and there was no connectivity. So I thought, we can just do this from via Zoom. So thanks for being here. I'm just waiting for others to join. And then we're going to take a look at the homework assignment and the essay assignment, because you'll get the chance to kind of, they're gonna work together this time. So all of your homework assignment, your work that you do there will literally apply to your essay. So just letting folks trickle in here. It's just now 2 o'clock, so I'm sure we'll have, there we go, we have others joining us, which is great. And this is being recorded, and I'll go ahead and post the link to this probably as an announcement, so you all have it. And you can, if anyone has questions during this lecture, it'll be great if you ask. And then that way, anyone who is unable to attend today, they'll be able to watch it later. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. Let me just pull up the class. Here we go. And this one. All right. Okay, hopefully you can see this all right. This was the announcement I sent. And so today we will begin our new module. This is our cause and effect essay, which we kind of began last week, but we'll continue into this week and it will end next week on November 8th is when the final essay is due. So you have a homework assignment that's due in a couple days. So you have a couple days to work on this. We'll talk more about it in class on Wednesday. So bring your homework assignment with you to class on Wednesday. First, let's go to the objectives. So this week so last week we talked about advertising, right? Which we'll circle back to in a minute. But I want to link it to our essay format, which is the cause and effect format. We talked about it again last week in class. This week we're going to really focus on that format. So please, if you haven't already, take a look in the files section at the 2 student example essays. They're on a different, or actually I'll show you what to look for today, but I really want you to see the pattern and the transitions that we use for this particular type of essay. So our learning objectives are that you learn how to use this particular format to make a point. This will be especially helpful in science classes or early education classes or nursing classes where you're explaining the relationship between cause and effect. So you'll get to select your own prompt this time, and I'll go over those in just a few minutes, but you'll get to select meaningful basis for cause and effect essays. So in other words, what critical thinking skills you'll apply to apply meaning to this. You'll practice and really learn how to provide outside resourced evidence of which we call support. You guys have been doing this already, so don't be nervous. We're just going to kind of formalize it a little bit more this time in terms of research. So this is our second to last module, and our final module, which will be longer than the others, it will focus on the research essay and methods and materials of research. So this is the step before that. So yeah, you'll learn how to distinguish between the two cause and effect styles. There's two to choose from, and you'll obviously be practicing writing a thesis statement that fits the cause and effect essay. Now, you've already completed, I think most of you have already completed the cause and effect quiz. And we've already been working on the discussion forum, which I think most of you have finished, right? So we did this together. So here we are with the cause and effect homework assignment, the essay assignment, and the peer review workshop. So what I'm going to do actually, class, is bring your attention first to the cause and effect essay prompt. This is not due until November 8th. I'm not sure what date that is, but it's not this week, it's next week sometime. But you get to choose what you write about in this essay. So if you read it before class, I actually just updated it. So this is brand new, hot off the press. So I'm just going to read it to you here. It says, for this essay, please choose one of the following prompts. You may incorporate the news articles researched for the homework assignment into the text of your essay as support of your ideas. That's why I'm showing you this essay assignment first, because you'll want to choose your subject first before you do the homework assignment, which is due sooner than the essay. Okay, so before I confuse you too much, we're just kind of going backwards here. So number one says, write an essay in which you develop a position on the potential effects of advertisement on one specific targeted group. You may choose that group, whether it's college students, minority group. And if you're choosing a minority group, I encourage you not to just lump all minorities into one group, but maybe pick a specific one. Young women, old women, men, children, etc. So there were a lot of people, different types of people discussed in the Kilbourne documentaries, right? So you'll want to choose one of the groups that was discussed, or maybe if there's one that no one has thought of, such as trans people, just off the top of my head, which maybe wasn't a hot topic back then. So you can kind of come up with your own ideas on that. Choose one group, targeted group, and then consider, are these effects beneficial or dangerous? So you could have a completely fresh outlook on this. It might be beneficial to someone, that way advertisements or social media or something like that. Not social media, but specifically more on advertisements, but social media is part of that world now. We see that, so it could be addressed in tandem with other forms of advertisements, if that makes sense. Because it's TV, it's billboards, it's on social media, it's on podcasts, it's on, all kinds of, in movies. You could even if you have an idea, like I mentioned with product placement in movies, that could be something that would also make an interesting cause and effect essay, or even partial, something, but it's something you could consider. I really want you to be individualistic about this and really strive to be unique in your subject. If your friend is doing something, then don't do what they're doing, okay? Okay, so discuss why and remember why the effects are either dangerous or beneficial. So you would then discuss make a list of the effects, how this one group is being affected, right? Anyway, so make sure to include outside sources to support your ideas in each paragraph, which we've been doing. And I do want to specify that the Kilbourne documentaries cannot be used in this assignment as support. Your subject must be specific and resources must be current. The other, I'll take questions in a minute. So if you have any, make sure to ask them while we're on this meeting, okay? If you have them. So the other option is to choose a subject that you'd like to discuss the cause and effect of in current events, such as politics, the environment, like climate change or something like that. Society, racism, sexism, drug addiction. It could be anything you have an interest in or something that's maybe affecting you in your life, or something like that. But this would be your opportunity to choose a specific subject and narrow it to it would just have to be narrowed. But either way, you'll want to use outside sources to support your ideas from valid resources. Remember, we talked about that in the beginning of the semester. There won't be any room for Wikipedia or anything like that. They'll need to be scholarly resources, okay? And the essay length will be 6 to 8 paragraphs. I have here 6, minimum of 6. As usual, 6 to 8 though is best. And it should be in the MLA format that we've been using, including a works cited page and cited in text support. Are there any questions about that? Yes, Cassidy?
Can it be in first person is my first question.
No.
No.
No, but examples can be.
Okay. And
Like
then my second question.
Yes.
Oh, my second question was, in what years, like what year does current range from?
Okay, very good question. So I would say in the last 10 years.
Okay.
So since 2000. Right. Oh God, that's 20 years, isn't it? How long is that? Let's say 20 years.
Okay, 20 years. Okay.
Since 2000. That's a great question. And on Wednesday in class, I'm going to show you how to use the how to use the library database for these kinds of things and how to narrow down your the years that in your search. So you could set the parameters for 2000 to 2021 and make it easy in that sense. We'll do that on Wednesday. But for the homework assignment, I think it's actually due on Wednesday. So you'll do you can just kind of Google it, right? Or do whatever you would like, and then we'll do another one, a different type together. Good question. Does anyone else have a question about the essay assignment? Can we use one credible website with multiple articles? Like what? when you think of that, what do you mean? Do you have a website in mind with that question, Adonis? New York Times has multiple articles. Oh, let's see. That's a good question. I feel like although I can understand that, you know, I feel like it would be really wise to research from a couple different perspectives. Like if you're researching the psychology, like how advertising affects, like here, I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna put a little unique spin on this. Like how could the potential effects of advertising be beneficial? Well, here's an idea. How about like body positive, there's a new body positive movement in advertising, where there are larger models used, larger than normal, right? Than what is discussed in the Kilburn documentary. So now I would say now in the last couple of years, there have been advertisement campaigns from beauty products to soap. I'm thinking of Dove. I'm thinking of the Old Navy commercial that's on right now these days with the comedian, the sort of larger comedian, 80 something. I really think she's awesome. Where she's dancing, you know, and things like that. So there has been a positive trend in advertisements. So it would be wise to incorporate opinions that are support from like the psychological perspective to the business side of perspective, you know what I mean? If that makes sense, you see what I'm saying? Where you kind of incorporate these other things. You wouldn't want to have one type of resource, if that makes sense. So you would, if the effects are coming in, I realize that although it's New York Times having multiple articles on something, it would be just show a more well-rounded, it'd be a better paper in general if the subjects were discussed from various perspectives, meaning, like I said, science, business, retail, you know, psychological, if that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, cool. Okay. So you don't have to have that, you don't have to share your idea with me today, but I will, let's go to the homework assignment because you'll see why. So here we have the homework assignment. So it says for this assignment, find 3 valid news articles to use as support in your cause and effect essay and summarize each one, including the following. And each summary should be 2 to 3 paragraphs long, which we know means 8 to 12 sentences, right? So this is combining some of the different things you've learned so far in the class. So you get to summarize and maybe even respond a little bit in terms of maybe not you personally, it's not a personal response, but you can tell yourself in additional details what you know, things that were important beyond these questions. Now, when I want to specify, because it says here additional details such as tone. Please don't say it's informative, okay? there's this thing students do repeatedly. And, you know, is it a scientific? Is it psychological? Is it funny? You know, but informative is never the answer. Okay. Is it ominous? Are they warning of us? You know, is it warning or is it optimistic? Right? It's using support that shows upward trends in blah 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 blah, right? So anyway, for your homework assignment, which is due, I believe, this Wednesday, so we can use this stuff in class on Wednesday. So submit it before class. In fact, I'm gonna put this due time on so everybody knows what time it's due. It's due before class. And remember, I've told you guys this defaults to midnight, but that's never the truth. It's always before class, okay? Okay. So you have until Wednesday to kind of think about what you'd like to think about and write about and know more about. So here we have, I'll just read this out loud. The author, obviously, who is this, and include why they are the expert, right? If you say Martha Stewart, well, say she's the home, I know that's not what you're going to be, this is just an example, but you wouldn't just say Martha Stewart, a cook or something like that. She's a home decorator, has written over 100+ cookbooks, is a renowned authority on all things house related, right? So explain to yourself. These are notes for this is like pre-writing for your essay. So you'll want to include who the author is of and why they're the expert. And say if someone is educated at, you know, I'm just totally making this up, but it's like this author is so and so who is a leading psychological innovator, author, and professor at Harvard, you know, and then put a little background on that, like their psychology department. You see what I'm saying? Like, just make sure you're well informed, and these are notes for your essay. When we say time and place of publication, also indicate, this is for your summary, how it relates to the subject. Is it past, present, future? Oh, look, I even have this, and I'm going off script, but it's always the same thing. So is my example says, is it recent information and therefore still happening? Or is it an article published in the past? Like, is this from 2000 or is this from 2021? We have the pandemic to also give us a holding place in time. So if, you know, pre-pandemic stuff, if you're writing about, you know, racism or cops or brutality, or violence, police, you know what I'm saying? You have the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. If you're writing about Asian, how Asian Americans have been, the effects of Asian Americans being targeted during the stuff we talked about in class. You know, it's pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, pre-Trump, post-Trump. Anything you want to write about. So, am I making sense to you guys? I hope. I know I make sense, but like, okay. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. All right. I hope this is exciting for you because it kind of gives you the freedom to discuss something that maybe you haven't had a chance to discuss, or if you want to think more about your major. So, you know, how has the pandemic affected, or keep COVID-19 subjects out of it, because your research paper will probably focus more on COVID-19. So keep COVID, like cause and effect of the pandemic, save that for the research essay. Okay. focus on more current events outside of that. But if there's something that you're interested in as it pertains to your major or your hobby or whatever, you know, then, and any questions about that? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So anyway, back to the homework assignment. In your summary, include background information on the author, give time and place and relevance to it, writing it in your summary. What's the main subject of the article? Identify the thesis statement. What are the main points or topics of the article? So you'll want to make sure that your article isn't just a really too brief, make sure it's nice and lengthy. Maybe it uses other outside resources within their own article. And how does it conclude? Is it hopeful? Does it lead to another resource or, whatever? And then also consider who is the intended audience. So that's your homework assignment, is to find 3 valid news articles and to write 3, the summaries that coordinate. So the body will be 6 paragraphs at least with an intro and conclusion. Yeah, just the same as we have been, or well, not on this homework assignment. For the essay assignment, yes. Is that what you mean, Cassidy? Yes. Okay. So yeah, the essay will be 6 to 8 paragraphs, just like we have been. So the body will be 4 minimum, and then an intro and conclusion. So that's 6 paragraphs. So that would be like 4 effects. Or maybe there's one effect, one big effect that 3 or 4, that 4 causes led up to this big change. Right? So one more thing I'd like to do while we're here is take you to the files section and show you the cause and effect 2 cause and effect essays that are from previous semesters. Okay. So these are, I'd like for you to look at these for the patterns that they exhibit. Now these, notice how the title tells us exactly what the subject is. The causes of the Oroville Dam failure, right? So it's right there in the title. And then it begins with the beginning of the story, the hook does. And it kind of gives us background information. These students were invited to use it first person, or to include examples, first person examples if they experienced it. Looks like we're going to get cut off in 10 minutes. So I'm going to do this as best I can. So again, in your essay, you may incorporate first person examples, but it's not a first person essay. So this student, let's see, through the whole week, I don't know what their thesis statement is. Sorry, it's not highlighted. So here, the first cause that led to the dam's failure was the operators ignored the first signs of the crater. And then they go in to tell, here's our outside resource. They have here, quote, if operators had stopped, blah, blah, blah. And whoa, where did it go? Oh, wait. Oh, they are not, they didn't, this student didn't introduce the quote the way it should have been, but here it is. Nonetheless, so then they go on to say the second cause that led to, right? And so this is like a 1, 2, 3 kind of step-by-step essay with the causes. You may or may not use that in your essay. It works for this particular assignment, but for yours, it might be more, you might arrange it less in a 1, 2, 3, this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and more like, you know, how to order it might be mental, physical, spiritual, you know, or local, statewide, country, global, you know, depending on what it is you're talking about. So anyway, this one is step by step. They use outside resources, and they used a local resource, Sacramento Bee, and then a more the Atlantic, I think, was I don't know, I'd have to look, but it doesn't sound like it's on the West Coast even. So it's, you know, perhaps more engineer or something like that. Okay, let's look at the other essay. Sorry, I'm rushing, but we have 7 minutes left. So this essay is on the same subject, but it discusses the effects of the Oroville Dam spillway failure. And so they start here. Notice it's different dates on each one. It's kind of funny, but it happened on February 14th, and the student walks us through, very interesting. And then here's their thesis statement. This Oroville Dam spillway failure had many unforgettable effects. A few were the evacuation expenses and the aftermath for schools and businesses. So their grammar isn't great, but the essay itself is well ordered, it's well organized, and they start, this is kind of being told in order of appearance, but also it ends on a bigger scale, right? And they're using their outside resources. This one is quoting locals as experts, you know, expert things. So when they're missing a works cited page. But there's an example of more of a discussion on the effects of something rather than what caused something to happen. So are there any questions about that I can help you with? The reason I'm showing you this is not to, just to show you, just to kind of get your brain in order, give you the chance to perceive your subject and decide for, you know, decide on your subject and decide whether you'd like to well, you might not want to decide this until you've done your research, but you might have something in mind already. So either way, you'll want to either think, well, am I going to talk about the ultimate effects of this, which makes your subject the cause of something, or the ultimate effect of something and the causes that led up to that big change. Questions? Questions about anything we've talked about today? We have 5 minutes left. Okay, so let's just go around the room. If you would unmute yourselves, and starting with just whomever, just shout out what you're considering writing about if you have an idea, or if you're undecided.
I'm undecided.
Okay, thank you, Alfredo. Katya?
Undecided.
Okay. Haley?
I'm still undecided.
Okay. Adonis? Yusuf? Do you have an idea, or are you still undecided? I think you're trying to talk.
Undecided. Is it
Okay.
working now?
Now it is, yeah. Okay. Cassidy? Uh-oh. Jamie?
Undecided.
Daisy?
I'm undecided.
Okay. Does anyone have an idea yet?
I'm undecided still, sorry.
That's okay. All right, well, if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, or if you have any ideas that come up, I'll be checking my email regularly. And I can help you generate your ideas, before you get too far advanced. So once you have your idea, hopefully it'll come in the next, by tonight. So you can work on your assignment tomorrow and Wednesday morning. So let's just say informally, it's informal. There's no grade, but if you wouldn't mind emailing me your idea and your potential approach by midnight tonight. We'll make midnight, even though I just said it's never midnight. Tonight it's midnight. So if you can, email me tonight and just let me know what you're thinking about, and maybe you have options. But I'd like to make sure you're not wasting your time on your subject, if that makes sense. So, any questions before we have 2 minutes left? Are there any questions, comments, concerns I can help you with before we get off?
I have a question.
Yes.
So what's due on Wednesday is the assignment where we use 3 articles.
Yes.
Okay.
And make sure, class, that they're scholarly resources. And we know that means .org, .gov, or .edu, right? And you can also include news resources as well that we've talked about as being valid. And that includes CNN. So Times, New York Times, LA Times, any Sacramento Bee, anything like that is valid also. But that's what's due on Wednesday. You'll just have the thing is you'll have to choose your subject before you get started. So anyway, we're gonna lose each other. We're gonna time out here in 1 minute, but I'm, like I said, I'm available via email if anyone needs me. And I'm gonna post this. So if you need to review anything, you sure can. All right, have a good afternoon, everyone, and I'll see you in person on Wednesday. Okay?
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye, you too.